What's going on YouTube? Portables here, back with another Scarlet Violet video, and today we are going to reveal our Day 2 Ceruledge team that we helped make for Sam Ghilav for the recent Frankfurt regionals this past weekend here. So if we hop into Lab Mouse here, we can see Sam's result, 79th place over here, 8-4 record, and there you see the Ceruledge team here, right? So I'm going to show you the building process of how the team came to be. And then I'll also give you some notes and advice on how to play this squad, which will also be pasted in the video description below, as well as in the pinned comment section. And I'm also going to showcase a couple of practice games myself on Showdown, just to show you how the team can be played here, right? But yeah, 8-4 result for Sam is actually really impressive. Sam had never been to a regional before, which is why he booked a coaching session with us to help prepare him, right? So if you guys are like Sam and are interested in going to a regional and need some help fleshing out an idea, make sure you book a session with us. Tier 3 gets you that team building session, and then Tier 4 also gets you the team building session, but now we also get to critique some of your games. So all you have to do is just record a couple of Showdown games, send them over to us, and we'll give you some advice on some matchups that are otherwise a little bit difficult, or just a little bit of advice on how to play certain games a little bit better, right? But anyway, also shout outs to Darsh Patel for helping Sam and working with Sam along with us. So if you remember Darsh, we made a couple of videos with them about a month ago for regulationh. He joined us for 2 tier list videos. So this was pretty much a bit of a team effort, right, with me and Darsh to help out Sam. So yeah, congrats to him as well. So that being said, actually, believe it or not, Ceruledge wasn't even on the original team, okay? Actually, Sam came to us and he laid out 3 options that he wanted to try and bring into Frankfurt. One being the Ceruledge, but the 2 others being Glaceon. Okay, yes, I said, yeah, Glaceon and also Palma. This is what Sam came with us, okay? And he said, Clover, I want to use something that's off meta a little bit, and I want to bring it to Frankfurt here, and I want to work with either of these 3 options. So from here, I said, okay, we can work with this. Now, Sam is not actually new here. So Sam, he was able to grab top 500 honors on Pokemon Showdown back in 2022 when he used a Snow Glaceon Armor Rouge team, okay, which is why he wanted to try and make this work again. Now, Sam came to us with a couple of teams that he had already crafted himself, and these are the teams. So right here, we have a Palmont with a Sash along with Dragonite, loaded dice here, Life Orb Gholdengo, Grimmsnarl with no EVs, Kingambit, and Gallade here, right? So this was one of the squads with Palmont that Sam wanted to try and use. It is actually coaching Palmont, right? Along with Fake Out Pressure. So then this team over here, you have the Ceruledge, right? Along with the Glaceon here. And here's the Snow idea with Ninetales and Glaceon with Bright Powder, Snow Cloak. Okay, then we have a Garchomp here. So there's a little bit of a Dragon Fairy idea, but no Steel type. Okay, and then we have Gallade with an Assault Vest and Comfey with some floral healing ideas, right? So these were the 2 teams that Sam came to us during coaching, and he said, can we work in some shape or form with either of these 2 teams? I would like to use any of these 3. Doesn't even necessarily have to be on all 3 on one team. I just want to use at least one of these, right? So then I looked at the squads and I said, okay, look, you've had the biggest success with Glaceon, right, in the past, so let's actually work with that. So then we proceeded to go into Showdown, and I wanted to revamp this team, okay, into a little bit more of a modern team for Regulation Age. So now let's go into Showdown here, and let's show you how we created the Glaceon team. All right, so we took the Snow Core from Sam's first team here, and we decided to just work with this first. So Glaceon, Ninetales, this is the Snow mode of the team, and then after this, I decided to just go with a general balance core to support this kind of team, right? I figured we needed some physical offense, okay, and we needed a little bit of speed control besides the Ninetales here, because actually the Ninetales wasn't even a speed control option here, right? It was actually just simply Blizzard, Moonblast, Auroraville, and Encore, and I'm just gonna upload that right here, okay? This was the Ninetales set I proposed, right? We just go max speed here. We increase the defense all the way up to until we get 100 for triple digits. This is also pretty decent with Auroraville, and then enough HP where we can get this to 175, and this is going to optimize against Tyranitar Sandchip damage, which I did expect Sam to face in Frankfurt here, right? Then the Glaceon set itself, this was going to be also a Blizzard spammer, and it was also going to have options against fire types by just going for Tera Blast, Tera Water, right? And it was Snow Cloak as well, right? Just to take advantage of Bright Powder, right? So this way, a chance to miss for the opponent, because you never know. We're in like a casino format, more or less. Let's take advantage, right? With the Bright Powder and the Snow Cloak. By the way, this was Snow Warning, not Snow Cloak here. So this was the core of the squad, right? Then from here, this is where the physical offense came into play. So after this, I decided to slap on Dragonite, okay, with this set over here, right? With the Loaded Dice, Scale Shot, Haze, and Tailwind here, max speed, Adamant, okay? And then enough attack damage just to hit the 200 mark. You're already past the 198 bump, and then just a little bit of HP left over here, right? Then, actually, no, wait, right here. There we go. Then I added the Sneasel, right? Because Sneasel is Sneasel. Sneasel partners well with Dragonite, of course. And then you can even just go for coaching ideas here. But in the end, I decided, look, let's just go straight out. Fake out first, Dire Claw, Close Combat, and then Protect, and let's see how it goes. So now we have the physical offense on our team. But again, we are prone to Intimidate because this is multi-scale and, you know, this is just a regular Sneasel here. So let's add Kingambit here with the Black Glasses set. Gambit, I did expect also to do relatively well in Frankfurt. You saw the day one usage rates for Kingambit there, and I did expect that as well. So very simple standard Kingambit set that I slapped on here just to discourage Intimidate. But now we need a little bit of redirection support to try and support the Kingambit, try to enable this. So this is where I decided, hey, let's add one of Kingambit's best partners right now in the Eviolite Electabuzz here with simple Follow Me, Taunt, Protect, and a little bit of speed control with Tailwind, right? So we have Tailwind here, we had Electroweb here, and then Gambit was our option for Trick Room stuff. But I also decided to make this Gambit a little bit faster, right? So this way, under Tailwind, you got to outspeed stuff like a Maushold, and then, you know, you still have good chances to outspeed mirror matchups, especially against an Ursaluna of some sort, right? Then the Sneasel was just straight up Adamant 252. And then this Glaceon here, I just wanted to hit the modest bump here with modest 156, and then, you know, 96 speed again under Tailwind just to outspeed the Sneasel, max HP, right? Because 65 isn't all that good, and just hit some even numbers here in our bulk stats here, right? And this was the snow team I proposed for Sam to try out. And again, on paper, doesn't look like, you know, quote unquote super amazing because Glaceon is rather niche. But at the very least, these other 5 mons are very, very solid. This Glaceon could have been something else, but I decided to work with the Glaceon because Sam came to us and said this was the Pokemon that they had the most success with in the past, right? So I wanted to at least cater to Sam's needs and at least give him something to start with rather than just say, no, you can't play this. No, you have to play this, right? So this is the team we gave Sam, right? And then we instructed Sam, look, we've got Limitless tournaments coming up. Why don't you try the team out? Let's see how it does. Sam actually didn't know about Limitless. So we had to, like, you know, show him what it was, show him the website. And Sam played the team in a couple of Limitless tournaments. And the result came out probably like, well, you know, not bad. Okay, but we struggle a little bit in some Trick Room games, especially the Torkoal Sun stuff. You know, the Marco Silva Sun team there. So maybe we take the team in a little bit of a different direction just to help us into that type of matchup. All right, so to help Sam against the Torkoal Trick Room teams and then the Sun Trick Room, Porygon Charizard stuff, we decided, hey man, I don't think this is Glaceon's format, so the Glaceon was dropped, right? And this is where Sam said, okay, well, let's try the other one. Let's try the Ceruledge, right? Because again, this has the Flash Fire ability, and at the very least, we can put on some pressure against the ghost types, like a Gholdengo, for example, because we have ghost type attacks, right? And then Clear Amulet was the set, obviously, so this way you don't get intimidated by Incineroar, even though you still have some difficulty with Incineroar using the Ceruledge here. But either way, this is what Sam was using in the beginning. We had Bitter Blade, of course. Then we had Bulk Up, which is quite nice. Then Shadow Sneak. And then I believe Poltergeist was on this, right? So no Protect. And then the Ceruledge was Terra Grass. And now also at the same time, the Sneasler had access to coaching, right? So Fake Out was forgone and coaching was back on here. So now you could boost the Gambit, boost the Dragonite, and even boost the Ceruledge, right? So this is what we were looking at, all right? The Dragonite was still Terra Fairy at this point. Actually, they went with Terra Fire in a remission of the team. I'm sorry, a revision, a revision of the team. This was also changed to Tera Water a little bit, just to have a little bit more of a Gholdengo make it rain resistance. Okay, and EVs looked like this, where we went Adamant 36 in the beginning, okay, just to hit the benchmark there. And then 68 looked okay at first, but this was Speed Time Blood Moon Ursaluna, obviously. So that was changed eventually later on, but this was the first proposal of using Ceruledge, right? Get a nice even number for the bulk up there, and then add the remaining EVs in special defense, right? Because again, you're going to be pretty good physically, right? With bulk ups, you already have 100 base special defense, which is actually pretty good. You just needed a little bit more HP. So all in all, the idea was to build behind setup with screens, and that was available with not only the Ceruledge, but also here on the Kingambit, as we had the Black Glasses Sword Stand set up here, right? So this was the next rendition of the squad, and I told Sam, okay, let's take this and let's play around with it, and let's see what else we need to do. All right, so as of this moment, 5 more days had passed. It is now September 6th. We're getting closer and closer to Frankfurt, and Sam decided to make another change. So the Torkoal Trichum stuff was good, right? We solved that with Tera Grass Ceruledge there, and also the Porygon Jumpluff Sun stuff with Torkoal and Zard, that was also okay. Ceruledge was looking good there. Now, the other issue that even myself, when I was using this rendition of the squad, was the sand matchup that was pretty popular at the time. There's actually a couple of sand teams that are popular, but you know, either way, with Excadrill and or Garchomp, again, with ground coverage that they had, it made things a little bit tricky, right? We didn't have grassy terrain, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4 weaknesses to ground. That wasn't great either. So a change was made. Sam actually made this change. He dropped the Gambit, he dropped the Electabuzz, okay? So that was a cord that was dropped, and also dropped the Ninetales too, and decided to add with Rillaboom here, right? So the Rillaboom would give you grassy terrain recovery, and it would also give you fake out pressure. It would give you at least a way to weaken earthquake damage, right? So that was, and you know, Rillaboom is one of the best mons in the format. Now, I didn't know the EVs at the time when Sam was suggesting this. He actually left out 16 EVs here, so oh, whoops, okay. But this was a very general set that was given. This is almost something that I would do in my videos. Again, 132 investment just to get the 192 benchmark recovery for grassy terrain, 196 investment to hit the adamant benchmark over here, the EV bump, right? And then at least 76 EVs here just to get the nice triple digit mark in SPDEF, and also it's a nice even number with the AV, and an 84 speed. This is enough to outspeed the max speed to mid Blood Moon Ursalunas, right? And Sam wanted to build around this core, okay? And then the steel type of choice that was added was Gholdengo here, right? So Gholdengo just again gave the team another good solid special attacker that was needed. You know, because after the whole droppage with the Ninetales, now this is all you have left. So Sam decided to just go with the standard setting, right? Make it rain, Shadow Ball, Nasty Plot, and Protect. But I also suggested at the time that you should try Grassy Seed Gholdengo here, because again, we have Rillaboom here, and I thought Grassy Seed was going to be an interesting call because I saw that the meta was rather physical at the time, besides the Blood Moon stuff, right? So Gholdengo could definitely use the defense boost against stuff like Flare Blitz Incineroar, Knockoff Incineroar, the Annihilape stuff, regular Ursaluna, Kingambit going for Kowtow Cleaves. A lot of physical threats to Gholdengo there, and really the only special threats that you really had to worry about was like a Blood Moon and the Mirror Gholdengo matchup, but we had ways around that as well. So I suggested try out the Grassy Seeds. Okay, Tera Water was the initial proposal, and then just go a pretty standard set. So in the beginning, it was modest, max speed, hit the second benchmark there, you know, with modest 132, and then dump the rest here into HP, right? And then Sam asked for a 6th and final mon, just to, you know, start preparing for Frankfurt, right? And I said, well, look, you've got fake out pressure. We still need a little bit more space and weather control to enable the Gholdengo slash the Ceruledge over here, right? So why not we add back the Ninetales here, right? So the Ninetales was added back, but a little bit more of a change up here in the set. Instead of having Moonblast, let's add this set here. Okay, how about the Covert Cloak Ninetales that could be on this? Because again, we have the Sash on the Sneasler here. So how about Blizzard, Icy Wind, Aurora Veil, and Encore? Keep the same EVs more or less. And this was this was the next rendition of the team, right? So now we have weather control. We have another special attacker on the team. We have speed control with Icy Wind again, because again, without the Electabuzz, we didn't have Electro Web to help with the Dragonite Tailwind for speed control. And then Encore was also quite interesting to use, especially against things that went for Fake Out and Protect and whatnot. You could kind of disrupt them with the Ninetales. And it was also a pretty good pick at the time because, again, you know, Dragonite only has Scale Shot, right? The other movesets is, you know, Tailwind and Haze and Protect. So you only have a Dragon move there. So what's that going to do in front of a Fairy type? Not a whole lot, right? So I felt like the Ninetales still had to come, and you get a Dragon Fairy Steel Core on your team with D-Knight, Gholdengo, and Ninetales. That was still a pretty good core running around with the team here, right? And then after this, the Rillaboom, I believe, yeah, it was Tera Fire. The Gholdengo was Water. The Ninetales was Water still. The Gholdengo was proposed to have Dark Tera, which is, again, pretty good against the Psy Spam stuff. And that was it. This was what we were running with at the time. I think there was even a point where the Dragonite was changed from Tera Fire back to Tera Fairy here. So that was interesting. And then some of these EVs were removed and added right back into HP. If I recall, that was another set. Now, I didn't realize this at the time because Sam did not show me the paste, but the Ceruledge EVs also changed, right? And I believe this is what Sam was showing me at the time. It was 188 HP and then 188 speed def over here and then 84 speed over here, right? But the problem with this was that, and I didn't see this at the time, right? Because I did not know the spreads that Sam was using. But this Ceruledge was speed tying the own Rillaboom here, right? And in fact, and again, like I said earlier, I didn't realize this because I did not see the pace that Sam was using, but 16 EVs weren't even put onto the Rillaboom at this point here, right? So that was gonna get changed later on, but this is the squad now, right? And there was a tournament on Limitless. Sam entered that tournament, and this is what happened. So Sam found a tour on Limitless, right? It was called the Alpenzi Tour Regulation H number 3 Frankfurt Regional Prep. And how many people played in this? This was a pretty good turnout, right? 88 people there. So that's a nice tournament that you can test a team in, right? And he did very, very well. He got 9th place over here, 7-2. He was actually doing really well in Swiss. I think it was like almost undefeated here, right? So let's take a look at Sam's record here, right? Yeah, look at this. Like Sam was killing it over here. And look at that. You see those sand teams that he got the win in. So there we go. We patched up the sand matchup a little bit. The only thing now was, look at the commonality in the core here, right? It was the Indeedee, Sneasel, Whimsicott, you know, the Archaludon Power Herb stuff that needed to have a little bit more adjustment just in terms of play. But great results overall, right? So then after this, then a couple things were added onto the team and a little bit more adjustment was made. So instead, how about instead of Tera Water, how about Tera Fire Ninetales, right? This gave a little bit better resistances to overall what Archaludon was doing. So this way, even if you went Tera Water, you weren't dying to Electro Shot. And then at the same time, you're still able to resist the Gholdengo Make It Rain stuff, which was, I thought, an interesting idea, right? So that was good. Then, oh yeah, by the way, the bulk up Ceruledge also went back to Protect over here. Okay, and then, you know, there was also a little bit of frustration from Sam saying, you know, the Sneasel shenanigans, you know, putting me to sleep was not great on my Dragonite. I felt like if the Sneasel didn't do that, then the Dragonite was in a great spot here. So, all right, so I suggested let's make another change. So let's change Tera Fairy. Let's go Tera Steel instead here, right? So this way the Dire Claw shenanigans wasn't going to be good. And then at the same time, this also gave you some resistance to the ice type attacks coming from, let's say, another Ninetales, for example, right? And then everything else stayed pretty much the same here. This was still Tera Dark coaching on Burden. This was still Rillaboom, Grassy Glide, Fake Out, Woodhammer, High Horsepower, right? But now the difference here, look, let's add one more point of speed here, right? And then let's put 12 points of speed over here. And then now we don't have a speed tie with our own Ceruledge, right? So that was a noteworthy change, right? The Gholdengo was also changed, right? So we decided, okay, well, actually Sam decided, look, let's go back down a bit. Let's go to 108, right? There we go. Let's re-optimize our HP for Grassy Terrain Recovery. And let's actually drop this down to the first benchmark. Let's go 52 modest Gholdengo. Still go max speed here, but then let's add a little bit more bulk here with 52, right? So to, again, also give you a nice solid even number, you know, with the Grassy Seed boost. And then the remainder of the EVs went into Spadef, right? And when you got the defense boost along with screens, this is great against Kingambit stuff. This was great against the Annihilape, because the Annihilape also had some trouble breaking the Tera Water Gholdengo, and now you had a defense boost, so now you're also neutralizing the bulk up stuff if Annihilape did in fact go for that. But overall, like, the physical bulk on this Gholdengo was actually quite solid there. So yes, you're giving up a lot of damage, but in exchange, you are gaining survivability, and it was actually clutch for Sam's run in Frankfurt there, right? So good job for readjusting this, and I commend it, right? It was actually really, really solid. So overall, this became the final variant of the team. So again, Tera Steel Dragonite there, and we have still Tera Grass Ceruledge here with, again, Protect instead of the Poltergeist stuff. So let me put this on the screen here. So this was it. Oh wait, no, a little bit more adjustments, right? So instead of, you know, this, so a little bit more EVs were reduced here. Let's go, I think it was like this much. Yeah, well, 76, right? So again, this was also for the grassy terrain recovery for Rillaboom stuff, right? So 206, 36 adamants, right? 12 defense. Again, nice even number for the bulk up. The remainder went into Spadef. And again, 116 was also enough to outspeed the Blood Moon Ursaluna, but again, not speed tie our own Rillaboom over here, right? So this was the final rendition of the team that Sam would take into Frankfurt. All right, now comes the regional. This is where Sam was able to get that A4 result. I wish he was here with me, so this way he can actually talk about his run and some of these matchups during his rounds here. But again, our time difference is too great. He's in Germany, I'm on the East Coast, so we do what we can. But looking at what he was able to prevail against, no surprises, honestly, right? So he does have a couple of wins against the Arc Rain teams, right? Both in round 1 and in round 7. Then he has the wins over the Sand teams, which is, again, one of those matchups that was a little bit problematic before it was patched up with the second, actually more like the 4th rendition of the team. There is a law. There's actually, there's actually still 2 losses to Arc Rain, believe it or not. So that's 2 and 2 there. Then the Trick Room Torkoal stuff over here, not so great there. But overall, still able to prevail over the P2 balanced Trick Room team. So there's that. And then finally, this hyper offensive idea, except no Tailwind. Well, maybe I guess there's the Dragonite with the Indity Sneasel Ape stuff. There's the Expanding Force Heat Wave, the Delphox there. Ceruledge does look pretty interesting here. I would imagine Rillaboom comes to this too. And then this last round over here with D-Knight, Blood Moon Ursaluna, and Ninetales, and then the Whimsicott. There's the, oh, what is this? That's the bug thing. I forget. Araquanid. There it is. Yeah. So unfortunately, we don't have access to Sam. So we're not really sure how any of these played out. But I can tell you what I would have brought. All right. But in any case, at the very least, what we're now going to do is showcase a couple of games where I use the team. And so this way I can at least direct some insight on how to use the squad as well. All right. So here's one of those Archaludon Rain matchups here. So the way I like to preview this is, you know, the rain is important, right, for both Basculegion and Archaludon, his 2 main sweepers there, right? Yes, he has the Maushold stuff for beat up stuff, and then Instant Amoonguss is his defensive backbone there, right? But if you can pivot the Ninetales well enough where you can trap and bait him into clicking Electro Shot, that's going to give you momentum, right? And at the same time, it's going to ruin the speed tier for the Basculegion. Because again, with Basculegion having under 80 base speed, the Dragonite is actually faster. And what you can even do here is lead Dragonite Sneasler and try and pick up the Pelipper if anything, right? If you can remove the Pelipper from the game, then the Ninetales will have complete weather control here. And then let Sneasler and Dragonite do the heavy lifting, right? And in some cases, Rillaboom is also potentially needed here just to pressure the Basculegion. You can also go the direction of trying to set up the Tera Water Gholdengo here, right? Because Tera Water Gholdengo also looks really good here. You just have to be prepared against the Electro Shot from the Archaludon, right? So a couple ways to really think about that, right? So let's see how this played out here. So I think I led Dragonite and Sneasler here, and he led with the Pelipper and the Archaludon, as expected here, right? Now, of course, there's probably going to be Incineroar in the back in some shape or form. I'm just going to trap him into thinking that he's going to click Electro Shot. I want to just try and go for the Skill Shot right now. This is why I think you should just go Adamant 252, 252, because look, I left the Pelipper there after 5 hits and it still survived there and he gets Tailwind, right? But he only gets to click Electro Shot here and doesn't actually get the attack off. So he clicks Protect here on the Pelipper. I'm going to click Protect on the Dragonite there so I can keep my multi-scale, right? And now I take the advantage here because now I can set up the Aurora Veil with the Ninetales there, right? So now in comes Instant. That's okay, right? Because again, this is still free chip damage overall. Body Press doesn't do a whole lot here, right? And I missed the Scale Shot, unfortunately, on the Incineroar, but I do get to Encore the Arc at least a little bit. So this way, he can't just pivot in the Pelipper and keep clicking, the Electro Shots here. All right. We eat the Body Press as the Sneasel switches in, right? Flare Blitz, again, we eat that because, again, we do have the Aurora Veil, so Sneasel is able to tank that relatively well. Scale Shot finally hits on the instant, and my job now is just to, chip everything down for the end game, right? So instant takes chip, and now also Archaludon takes chip, because I know these are EV to survive the close combat there, right? So this is fine. Then he goes Body Press into D-Knight, that's okay. And finally, a Parting Shot goes into the Sneasel, again, weakening it a little bit further. But look, everything is so weak now, okay? And he has no choice now because, look, I have the speed advantage and he just simply forfeits. We're going to remove the Pelipper. We're going to remove the Archaludon. Even if he switches out, the Instant will still get KO'd anyway. And even if he protects Pelipper, we just kill it next turn anyway. Because, again, we have the faster threats on the team. The only way that he can maybe get a faster threat on the team is if he has the Basculegion in the back. But this is also why we have the Ninetales, and this is why you want to prioritize removing the Pelipper, so this way that Basculegion will not have the speed advantage in the endgame. Okay, so this team is the team that Aaron Cybertron Zheng brought to his run at the Monterrey Regionals the same weekend. He also made day 2 there, so shout outs to Cybertron, right? But this is, again, a game where Rillaboom and Gholdengo can be very, very good here. Because, again, he has both the Blood Moon and the Basculegion, which Rillaboom does very, very well against. And at the same time, if you can set up the Gholdengo with the Nasty Plot here, you can actually just run through a lot of these things. Because, again, the Blood Moon and the Archaludon, they don't have the greatest of special defenses either, right? So you have the idea there. And then, of course, you can pressure the Basculegion if you can get the weather back on your side here. So very easily, I decide to just go Rillaboom and Gholdengo, get my Grassy Seed boost going there, just in case he also decides to lead the Basculegion, but he did not, right? So it's Whimsicott, Archaludon here. All right, so this is an easy fake out. This is not the stamina boosting Archaludon here. So he could have even protected, but again, same result. I still get to set up this Nasty Plot here on the Gholdengo. All right, and now I know he wants to click the electric move, right? So here's what we do. I know he's going to go into Gholdengo. This is fine. Let's just protect Gholdengo first and deal big chip damage into the Archaludon, right? So here comes the whiffed Electro Shot, right? Now we click Wood Hammer, which is great. It does more than Stomping Champ. High Horsepower in this case. And now the Archaludon is in range. But I want to revenge kill the Gholdengo here. Let's just Grassy Glide it now. It was in range. And now there's the Shadow Ball. We live it because we click Tera Water. And now we can also click Shadow Ball right back. And there is a dead Gholdengo there. And that's it. Now it's just Whimsicott coming back in. Plus something else here. There's the Whimsicott. There's the Basculegion. Guess what we have in the back? And he knows it too. And he has no choice but to click Forfeit because now the Basculegion can't get enabled with the rain. But it doesn't matter because, again, technically he could still give the Basculegion Tailwind support. But there's only one turn of Tailwind left anyway. And we have a Rillaboom in front of a Basculegion. So there's not really a whole lot he can really do against the Rillaboom. He's already Terra'd his Basculegion. So he didn't really have much of a choice. Alright, this is a weirder Sand Team variant. He's got Tyranitar, Excadrill, the Indeedee, but no Sneasel. He does have the Maushold stuff there. So he's got a Maushold core slapped onto some Sandboys. And there is the male Indeedee there. But this is also a game where Ceruledge can do very, very well because, again, with Terra Grass and Bulk Up, you can kind of wall out all of these physical attackers. And if you have Rillaboom to like change terrain and give you a little bit more recovery and pressure these rock types at the same time, then and also remove terrain, it's just really, really good as well. And if you have the Ninetales, which we do, we can always change weather as well. All right, so here we go. He's going Tyranitar and he's going Excadrill here. The classic Sandboys here. I'm going to go Sneasel and I'm going to go Ceruledge. I know what he's thinking already. He wants to remove my Sneasel and just make me lose the Sneasel with the Sand Chip, right? So here we go. He goes Terraflying Tyranitar as expected. He protects Excadrill. That is not the threat right now. Bulk up looks good. All right, and there is the Tera Blast into the Ninetales. We eat that relatively well because we have a defense boost. Goes into Garganical here. That's fine. All right, I take the chance to set up the Veil. I go for another bulk up, right? Because I know what this T-Tar wants. He's going for another Tera Blast. I want to get good value out of Bitterblade here, right? So Blizzard looks good. We chip the Tyranitar, good damage. And then Bitterblade actually just removes it completely, right? And we go back to full. So good value here from Ceruledge. The Salt Cure stuff doesn't really matter, right? Because we have more pressure in the endgame. We have more recovery. Now comes the Indeedee. Guess what we have in the back? You guessed it. Here comes Rillaboom. Change that terrain. Guess what we're going to go with next? Expanding Force, a little bit of damage. But again, with the Veil, we eat this relatively well. Bitterblade, removing the Indeedee. No Sash there. It's probably on an Excadrill, most likely. Or maybe even Maushold. Another Salt Cure into Rillaboom. This is not damage, right? We have more damage. He's not dealing enough. He's got 2 Mons left. Protect Excadrill. This is fine. Okay, double protect. Actually, maybe wanting to get a little bit more Salt Cure damage. But all in all, he does not have the real speed advantage. Or actually, more or less the damage here. Because we still have more Veil over here. So there's the Iron Head. Maybe trying to get a flinch. But Wood Hammer just removes Garganical. He teared the Tyranitar already. So this thing was always going to drop. And that's it. Right? Because now it's just Excadrill 1v4. One turn of Veil doesn't matter anymore. We don't really need it. Grassy Glide, a little bit of chip. Probably beats him next turn anyway. Iron Head, even if he gets the flinch now, still won't matter. Bitterblade cleans up the Excadrill, and that's it. So good value here with Ceruledge, especially after we set up the Ninetales screens. All right, this is the Maushold team, Maushold-Annihilape. This is the Shohei variant, I think. Now, this is always a little bit tricky because, again, you don't really know what the mouse or the ape can do. There's like 10 different options, and this is a Sash Maushold. That's even worse, right? Because you have to double tap it. But I still think, the Grassy Seed, Tera Water, Gholdengo is hard to break unless they bring a Rillaboom themselves, right? Because the ape itself can't do it alone. Even after one bulk up, it's still not enough, right? So I'm at least playing for that kind of game, and then I could still technically bring Ceruledge here just to pressure the Ninetales and the Gholdengo and even the Rillaboom there. So there's always that. And I even have my own Sneasler at the same time, right? So I'm going to go Rillaboom Gholdengo here. That's how I wanted to lead this one. So there's the ape and there is the Maushold here. So if he tears the mouse, okay, not the end of the world here, right? Because again, I could have also just Tera Watered and then just went for Nasty Plot there. But he actually just double protects there. So very interesting play. I don't think that I would have did that. But again, Nasty Plot is free. So now I can go Tera Water. He actually Tera Waters the Annihilape instead there. So that was an interesting play, right? He went Tera Water in front of a grass type. Okay, I don't know if I would have did that, but he did it. Okay, and look at this. Beat up, make it rain. So he's got hit a lot. We take out the mouse, but look at how well Gholdengo eats this. Look at this. Rage Fist, we still live. Remember, this ape got hit with the beat up and a make it rain, okay? And we still live. This is the power of Grassy Seed Gholdengo here, right? Even though I didn't make the greatest of plays, it still lived because of the Grassy Seed stuff. And he doesn't even have any bulk up sets, right? So I pivot out. I go into Sneasler here. Right, so now we can pressure Rillaboom as well. Technically, I'm going to go into my own Rillaboom. I don't want to lose Gholdengo just yet, right? So we resist a Grassy Glide there. Dire Claw into his Rillaboom. Not enough for a kill, but enough for a pair. So there's Dire Claw hacks. There's a bulk up finally from the Annihilape, okay? But we do have a Rillaboom on our side, and we also have coaching. We have the position for coaching, right? He has no choice but to protect. He doesn't want to die to a Wood Hammer here, so I'm going to coach my Rillaboom. I'm going to be able to outbulk both their Rillaboom and their ape there. There's another knockoff. We don't need AV. You guys aren't special attackers. More recovery for me. All right. And now, technically, I could have just went for the Rillaboom kill and went for the Wood Hammer into the ape. I didn't need to coach my Rillaboom again, right? But I wanted to make sure that I wanted to live the Rage Fist from the ape there, right? So I went for that. Okay, and we get a para from the Rillaboom, which is great. Now Ceruledge comes into their Gholdengo. Their Gholdengo is not Life Orb, so I just wanted to chip the Gholdengo enough where I can finish it off. We eat the Shadow Ball. This is how good Ceruledge is, right? Especially in front of a non-Life Orb Gholdengo there. And remember, we still have our own Gholdengo in the back. So even though he does kill the Ceruledge here, right, I can just kill with high horsepower, and that's it. So, did I need to go for Shadow Seek? Absolutely not. I could have even just protected and baited that and then let the Rillaboom try and clean up there. But I still had this position where if I remove the Rillaboom, I could still force a 2v1 against their own Gholdengo. which is what I was playing for. So I didn't play the most perfect Maushold-Ape game, but I played it well enough, and I showed some of the damage calcs there that I wanted to show. All right, this is one of those Corviknight Garchomp teams here. He's got the Ninetales himself. So Dragon Fairy is still going for them, right? Hisuian Arcanine also has got Intimidate support. He's got the Amoonguss, got the Ape there. So not double defined, but defined and mirror herb ideas there, mirror armor, I should say. I like setting screens myself, okay? And he can also set up screens himself, but I like Gholdengo especially into this, right? So what I'm going to do is actually lead Ninetales and Gholdengo. This is actually a relatively passive lead, but it still works for this because he also has somewhat of a passive team too. Amoonguss Annihilape here. I could have made a choice and just pivot out into Rillaboom here because I know he's going to spore the Ninetales slot here, but I figured I'd rather get more value with the Veil first, right? So Veil Nasty Plot was my play. Rage Fist does nothing. Look at that. He spores my Ninetales. That's the trade I was willing to make, right? So that's fine, right? I still stay asleep, but again, look, another Nasty Plot. The Amoonguss can't hurt me. Rage Fist, again, just doesn't really do a whole lot here. No bulk up setup. He Sludge Bombs his own Annihilape there. That's actually a lot of damage. Right, I know what he wants. He wants the Rage Fist boost. So I'm going to go for Make It Rain now. And I almost pick up the Ape. I wanted to see the damage calc there, but the Amoonguss falls. But this is still fine because, again, Rage Fist doesn't do enough because he has no bulk up, right? Now it's just Chomp here. If the Annihilate falls, then the Chomp will be trapped here with the Ninetales here, right? And that's my game plan. And I still have a lot more options in the back, right? So right now I have the pressure. I have the bulk. Okay, I'm the one with the Ninetales here that's putting pressure on the Garchomp. He already teared the Annihilate. This Chomp is cooked here, right? He tries to protect again. Look at this. This is an easy, icy win. I want to make sure I'm faster than the Annihilate, right? So Gholdengo can outspeed. This is an easy Make It Rain, all right? And now we get rid of the Ape. And guess what? Now this Chomp is trapped here in front of an icy winding Ninetales there, right? So even if he has something like Arcanine or whatever, or maybe even Corviknight, it does not matter because I will still have more than enough to beat the Chomp with his +1 and or the Chomp and a partner mod because I still have 2 more Pokemon in the back too. All right, so let me end with this one here. So actually, I don't play this game relatively well here, but I was able to find a win con in the Ceruledge here, and you can see just how strong it is if you position it properly. Otherwise, it just kind of drops here, but look at this team. So he's got an interesting Basculegion Rain team here with Archaludon and Pelipper there, and Amoonguss, he's got those 4 as the standard, but then he has another grass type here with Rillaboom and Volcarona, believe it or not. And this is actually why I wanted to bring Ceruledge here, right? Because again, look at what he has. He's got a Rillaboom, a Volcarona, and Amoonguss. Ceruledge actually looks really good against all of this, okay? The only thing we have to worry about is the weather stuff, right? But I still play for the early game Gholdengo offense, right? So that's what I'm looking for. So I'm going to go with Boom, and I'm going to go with Gholdengo here. Again, we've seen this strat before. He's going to go his own Rillaboom and his own Volcarona. So Fake Out is on the board with, you know, Quiver Dance. He gives me the Grassy Seed. All right, I'm going to go into my own Ceruledge just in case he gets greedy here, right? Or if he wants to Fake Out, there's the free Quiver Dance. I also go for a Nasty Plot here. But again, Tera Water Gholdengo in front of a Rillaboom is kind of funny. He actually has knockoff Rillaboom, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. So now this gets a little interesting. I'm going to protect Gholdengo first. And I'm going to take the time to buff up my Ceruledge here, right? So I'm in a little bit of a spot here. The play here was to actually just swap over the Gholdengo here, right? And just reposition the board and preserve it. But I end up just dropping it here, right? So I'm going to protect Ceruledge, right? He Giga Drains my Gholdengo. It just dies, right? So I didn't even get a chance to use the Gholdengo. So that's like on us for like positioning the board poorly, but he is also just Giga Drain Volcarona, which we didn't know. So he flash fires the Ceruledge. He wipes out the Ninetales, so there goes my weather, but free kill into the Volcarona, free crit actually, okay, right? And then there's a knockoff, which again does good damage, but we're +1 here, right? So I have just my own Boom, and he has his Amoonguss, which is great, right? Because again, we can kind of dodge here. I'm just trying to Fake Out and just go for another bulk up here. Okay, he's scared of my, you know, Bitter Blade here, and I kind of have to make this play. You know, he could have easily just spored me, but he didn't do it, right? But he's scared of the Bitter Blade, that's why. But now we have a better, stronger Bitter Blade, and now I catch the switch. I know this is what he wants, so I high horsepower the Terrifier Rillaboom, and now we go Bitter Blade into the Boom as well there. So now it's just Amoonguss left, and my Ceruledge is back to full. He clicks Draco, does do about half, but guess what? Now the Arc is stuck here at -2, and we still have grassy terrain here. I'm going to get a little bit more of that. Okay, I'm going to high horsepower the Arc, get a little bit more chip there. And the Amoonguss, all right, this is where he went for the interesting Spore play, right? There's the Draco. Again, that misses. He's -2 already. So now the question is, does he protect the Amoonguss and does he click Draco yet again? He doesn't, so this is a free Wood Hammer, right? I thought he might, but he didn't. There's the Bitter Blade. Probably should have even just high horsepowered the Archaludon, but again, I thought he might redirect. But now he's -4, and look at this endgame. Look at this endgame. He can body press the Rillaboom and kill me, but he can't body press a Ceruledge, right? So high horsepower does connect. Again, pretty good damage. There is the Bitter Blade. We are actually outspeeding this Archaludon, by the way. And now I'm back to full. He can't win, right? Body press, good damage. But again, what do we have on the field here? We have the Rillaboom and the Ceruledge here, right? So there we go. High horsepower again. He protects a little bit more. Again, Bitter Blade whiffs. Still okay, right? A little bit more recovery for both of us, and including the leftovers Archaludon. High horsepower again. Now he's +3.5, right? So this is fine. Bitter Blade is still almost able to KO. He can't really beat the Ceruledge now. He can beat the Rillaboom, but he can't beat the +2 Ceruledge here, especially after the fact that he can't use a fighting move into me. So that's it. Ceruledge does win this endgame, believe it or not. All right, so there's the pace one more time. By the way, I think when I was like recreating the team the first time around, I think I left the Sneasler as Adamant. It is actually Jolly here just so that we can get the edge over the other Sneaslers here. But this is it. So once again, hopefully you enjoyed this story and enjoyed how the team evolved from a Glaceon Snow team into this Ceruledge balance team here. I will say Ceruledge is a little bit niche, right? It's kind of somewhat hard to position, right? You do need like at least 1 or 2 bulk ups, but it is very matchup specific. It can do well into the Torkoal and the Sun stuff, especially those P2 Sun Charizard ideas. And in some games, the Ceruledge Tera Grass is also quite useful. It's great into the sand stuff, especially, right? So you can definitely get some ideas there. But of course, your main win condition is still going to be the Gholdengo here with this Grassy Seed with Nasty Plot setup. You do have the Ninetales here with Veil. You can always do coaching into Dragonite. You can always do coaching into Rillaboom, right? Like I showed you earlier. So don't forget, Rillaboom is strong, man. Like +1 or +2 Grassy Glides or +1, +2 Wood Hammers. It's a lot of damage in terrain, right? So don't be afraid to do that. And again, with the Ninetales, it's great into Dragonite teams. Again, just to have something, a fairy type into the Scale Shot that you can easily just, switch into and, make them lose a little bit more value, of course. That's also a play here, right? But again, what other changes would I do? So like I did like the Terra Steel Dragonite. According to Sam, it did very well there. It was able to come in clutch against like Sneasler stuff there. I would just max the attack on Dragonite. I did not see a need to just only leave it at 200 attack there. You can just max the attack, remove that HP. Just go Adamant 252, 252. The Gholdengo set was fine. I didn't have any issues there. Same thing with Rillaboom, Ceruledge, and Ninetales there. Those were like fine spreads here. If I had to like readjust the team, I probably just would drop the Ceruledge and add a stronger fire type there, right? In my opinion, I think even Volcarona looks good in that slot, or even something like he's doing Arcanine. I think that's like the tank team or almost. But overall, you could even sash the Ninetales and go 252, 252 there, and just put in like the White Herb on the Sneasler. I think that's also worth trying, just so that you're not super prone to Incinerate or Intimidate, because, if the Incin intimidates both the Dragonite and the Sneasler, it just gets somewhat a little bit more tricky. But if you have the White Herb, you activate on Burden anyway, and then you can just make it a bulkier Sneasler set, just like what the Tangs did with their team there, right? So overall, give this one a try and let us know how you do. But once again, congrats to Sam on getting the Day 2 8-4 results. And hopefully you use the team yourself. And again, like I said earlier in the video, if you are interested in coaching, right, and if you are interested in getting similar success to Sam, right, make sure you register with the tier 3 sub to the channel. Or if you want a little bit more, you can also do the tier 4 sub if that is something in more interest of you, where we get to look at your battles and give you some feedback. But again, it's up to you. We will work with what you want. Sam wanted to work with Glaceon. We were open to it. Didn't quite work out. We had to change the team a little bit, and this is the final result there. All right, that's it for now, folks. We'll be back with another video in the next one. Peace out, and have a good one.